You
No
might
worries,
hear
bye.
you might hear some
What?
sounds because I live in a very small condo, so you
Ay,
might hear
sus.
stuff.
Okay, goodbye. I had an interview, and yeah, see, Steph was doing groceries, and the kids walked in. They wanted to change their channel in the middle of it. Good, and yeah, it
Yeah.
was not a good experience, but it's fine. It is
All
what it
right.
is. Yeah, can you hear
Yes.
me?
People. Yeah, yeah, we're all good.
I just need to do some levels on my end. By quick question: what did you have for breakfast?
I had a cup of coffee, and
That's
that's
it
it. Yeah.
for
I've been
breakfast.
I've been trying to watch my diet, man.
See, wait, we'll get to that. We'll get to like
Okay.
get you
Okay.
a bike.
Yes, sir. That's the main reason why I'm here.
See, wait. I'll just do a quick intro. No.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody on the FB live stream 032 Conversations. You can listen to this podcast on 032.com in the future. There's over 100 interviews on the site, so feel free to listen. I'd like to welcome my friend Gino Reyes.
Hello.
Um, hey, bye. So, how are you?
I'm good. We're all good. Um, which is a big relief.
Yeah,
And
bye. Okay. Oh,
sorry,
okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, no. After I was gonna say, I asked this kid to everybody, kanang how are because this pandemic has really affected everybody in some way,
Yeah.
and why I thought it would be good to get you here is because obviously, kanang you somehow were infected by the COVID-19,
Yeah.
no,
It
and
it
then
it you'd think you'd never get it until like boom, oh, I have it, and it's surreal at first, no, and then um, it hits hard once it's there. Um, so I don't wish it on anybody.
yeah, but I wanna okay. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you was like, there's this kanang quote unquote like stigma or like mauwaw kunuhay like if they get infected by the virus, especially early on. Yeah, hopefully now it's more because there is a future. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but there is a future that that we all get it at some point, right?
Yes, that's a big question mark in the future, no. But yeah, I was all for it on. I don't think you should be ashamed um, that you got it. But initially, of course, you're worried. You don't want to tell anybody. You're kind of like, should I keep it within the family? Um, those things are more of your initial knee jerk reaction. But later on, like we were like, it's better, Siguro, that we talk about it, and there's nothing wrong about it. It's something that you can't predict, something you can't actually there's no vaccine and things like that. So anybody could get it, and it's better that we talk about it so people are aware, and it's nothing to be ashamed of because at the end of the day, it's not your fault. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking we could start in the beginning by in a sense. So when did you first, you know, realize that it might be COVID-19? What were you
Well,
feeling? That sort of thing.
okay. So the first day that I actually felt something, um, I woke up feeling tired. All right. So you kind of like, wow, maybe I didn't get a good night's sleep. And then I actually went to work. So I went to the office. But as the day progressed, around lunchtime for your break, I decided um, there's something I feel it's not right. So immediately I went home to our condo because when the lockdown happened, we opted to move in with my mother-in-law because it's a bigger house, bigger space for everyone. I live in a one bedroom, so to imagine being locked down here would have it's hard. So So my initial thought was really to go away. So I moved to the condo by myself. Um, and or the afternoon, I got a fever. So you get the fever, and of course, you're kind of like paranoid already. Like this could be something, but it could be something else. Um, so as the days progressed, like the second day, um, yeah, it feels like a regular flu actually in my case. Um, so you just have the body aches, you're kind of tired, you've got a fever, your appetite starts waning, and then actually by the third day, um, you still have the flu-like symptoms, but during the day it would go away. All right, so you kind of feel fine.
This is
But
by the third day.
yeah, this is the third day actually. So like the third day was the day I decided to go to the hospital. I was feeling better. I was feeling better. Like I had more energy to move and actually get out. I ended up going to the hospital. I went through the ER and I went through the screening, and um, so they checked up on me. The time they checked up on me, I had no fever because, as I said, during the day it kind of goes away. So this is the time it's kind of like on and off already, your fever, and you feel fine. I had no cough. I had no difficulty breathing. It was really just more like you don't feel 100%. So I just went to be sure. You know, I went, and then when they checked up on me, actually they said, you're fine. It could be something else because I wasn't displaying much of the symptoms. And the doctor, or the residents, usual screening, like they asked me to get a complete blood count, and that was a Friday. So the next day they said, just come back here, get your results, and go see the doctor assigned, right? So I go see the doctor on that Saturday, the next day, and again, I don't feel anything much. I don't have a fever. I'm feeling better. Um, so I see the doctor, and he says, I don't think it's COVID. Maybe you just have a respiratory tract infection because you don't have cough, you don't have a fever. Right now, you don't have a fever. Um,
Wait, can I stop you
so
there, Bay? I'm curious. Uh, does have you talked to other people who've had the COVID? Do they match nga murag? It's like, or would you know nga, is that normal nga murag you have it, you feel bad
I,
and then like during the day or the next day it wala murag almost like dengue ba?
actually, no, I didn't know. No, I haven't talked to anybody. It was more of me just being paranoid. And of course, you also hoping that it's something else, right? You wish that maybe it's just a flu or a bug and it's going away because I feel better. Um, so honestly, like when I saw the doctor, he was like, I don't think you need to be tested. It was actually me who said, can I just get tested for peace of mind? So because you need a prescription to get a PCR test. So I got it, and boom, that was it. So I got my results the next day, and that's when they said I was positive. So the all of a sudden you're like, wow, you kind of like, what's the next step? And immediately you're like, okay, who did I come in contact with? You know, and we were all together in one house. So that's the
Wait,
first.
so when you went to the condo, your family, I know, you have a kid. Uh, they were still at home with your mom with
Yes,
your
yes,
in your
we
mom's
made it.
house.
Yeah, we made it a point, that I was here alone, because so that I wouldn't be in contact with anybody else.
So
And then,
right away you isolated yourself as soon as
oh
you
yeah,
felt.
oh yeah, as soon as I felt bad, I was like, let me just go home to the condo. Let me see how what's gonna happen or how I feel, and then we'll take it from there. As long as the point was to be away from them. But again, so that that's your initial worry, and then yeah, that basically those were my symptoms, and honestly, they got better as the days passed. Your fever is less. My fever turned out to none during the day, and it would come back in the evening, like towards you going to sleep around 6, 7 p.m., you'd start feeling it. But other than that, during the rest of the day, you feel fine. You feel not 100%, but you're okay. Um, you have this, you do really lose your sense of taste and your smell. That really just goes away. So that's
Mm.
like a hallmark thing for us. Like when I would read, and then everybody would say, "Oh, well, you lose your sense of taste and your smell." So that's it. You're kind of like, well, okay, this is really it. And then from there, you lose your appetite because you can't taste anything. But other than that, that was it.
Kanang
That's
slight fever at night, ana.
Yeah, yeah.
Pero what I'm curious also about by was okay, like so yesterday, well, 2 days ago and yesterday, I was kind of like, I feel weird, ano ba? And
Yeah,
then I just felt like for me, yeah, I was just feeling I had a slight headache, kadang ano ba? And in my head,
yeah,
your mind gets rolling. I'm like, "Lah, sa naman eh." I googled COVID-19 symptoms,
yeah,
and I got a little paranoid, and I'm not the most paranoid person, no?
yeah.
And and then just knowing it was very mild, I was basically, I just basically felt weak for a day, no, and had a slight headache. And
Okay.
I mean, I feel fine right now, so it turns out to be, I assume, nothing, no. Um,
Yep.
but I can imagine what it must be like to, like well, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what must have been going through your head when that was happening. But like, you jumped from the first day of isolating yourself to 3 days later,
Yeah.
no. So I don't know, like, what were you?
It's everything. You think about all the worst case scenarios. Um, but for me, it was really like, okay, how's my family? Like, how's everyone feeling? Um, do they have fever? Do they have symptoms? And was really trying to contact, my relatives. I have relatives who are doctors. Who can they recommend? And then, talking to them and just getting their opinion, and getting the experts' advice on what are the next steps. So, of course, the first steps is really get yourself tested, isolate yourself. That's number one. And then as soon as we got the my results, we decided to get other people in the household tested. In my case, my mother-in-law had to get tested. We opted because actually she also got the symptoms. Um, actually, a day ahead of me. So the immediate concern was to get her tested because the rule there is the senior citizens are the ones who are critical. So so we did get her tested. So the day I found out, we got her tested right away.
Hmm.
We got the results the following day. So she did test positive, and the biggest concern there was, of course, you have to get her admitted right away. That was the advice from everybody, was just get her admitted so that she can be monitored right away. And it turned out, if you can imagine, in a week's time, she developed pneumonia. Um, so we had the test done, and CT scan, and there really was pneumonia. Very fortunate for us was, it was mild. It wasn't pronounced in the X-rays. There's a few things they could see, but um, there it was there. So they were really concerned. So automatic with the treatment and everything, and there. So actually, my mother-in-law was admitted to the hospital. Um, I accompanied her because she couldn't handle being alone. It was very hard for her to be alone. So, with the permission from the hospital and the doctors, they allowed me to accompany her since I was already positive. So it wasn't like it was dangerous for me to contract it since I already had it.
So you were
And
admitted as a patient?
no, no, I was
Oh,
really
okay.
just there as a companion, just to help out. It's a different. It was like a special case because when I was checked, of course, because the initial plan was to also admit myself in the hospital. So I was being processed when we went that following day after her test. Um, to me as a patient, but they checked me. I got my X-rays. They were all clear. So their advice was, "Well, you don't technically have to be admitted. You can just isolate by yourself." Um, but then, so I accompanied her there, and we were treated. She was treated 10 days. We were there 10 days before we were discharged, and then another 14 days of isolation after that.
After that, pagid.
After that, pagid, yeah. So we were,
You and your mother-in-law.
yeah. So what we did was I had the condo disinfected, and then Julia and my family. So Julia and Jess, they moved here to the condo a day before we moved back to the house. So when we moved back to my mother-in-law's house, the setup there was the both of us were on the second floor, and it was just us, and then everyone else was downstairs, and you couldn't go down anywhere. We were just stuck upstairs on the second floor for another 14 days.
But at this point, you guys were feeling fine, okay na.
Yeah, honestly, around that siguro the last 5 6 days in the hospital, we didn't have fever anymore. We didn't have the body pains. The last thing to stay really was so you get this weird diarrhea. Um, it's not like a diarrhea where it's constant, like every day you go how many times. It's more of like it's just normal. It's just normal frequency, but it's just diarrhea. Okay, so that's one thing also that they say as a symptom. The doctor told me that's kind of like a symptom here in the Philippines. He said that's common that people have this diarrhea, but it's not a frequent diarrhea that you're worried. And of course, the loss of your sense of smell and taste. So that goes by longer pa. But again, so the past 5 days there in the hospital, we weren't feeling anything anymore. So it was more of just biding our time, making sure that she showed progress in her X-rays, her chest X-rays now for her lungs. But again, we were very fortunate that she didn't need any oxygen at any point, and her breathing was normal. And yeah, it very fortunate for us in that
So
sense.
I assume she's fine right now because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So actually,
she
she's
is like
fine.
one of the first people to comment on the
Which is yeah, very active.
no?
Yeah,
So bro, but so you guys were in the hospital for so you were there in the hospital for like 10 days. Uh,
and,
you don't need to be
and
specific on what hospital, but like what was the I don't know. Okay, there's so much news also now about like basically about the whole situation.
yeah.
No, what was your
Um.
experience in the hospital?
Okay, so the week I went or the week we were there. Um.
That was like about a month ago. Am I right? When was this?
Yeah, yeah. Roughly about a month ago now. At that point, it wasn't that full, to be honest. If we go there, there'd be well, the first time I went to the regular, because there's two, so they split it, right? So there's like a regular ER, and then you have the ER especially for COVID suspected patients, right? So the first time I went, of course, there was quite a few people, so you had to wait in line, which is the scary part, honestly. Like you're sitting there waiting long, and then there's different patients there. Could be
Yeah, you all.
positive,
Ah, good now. For I mean,
yeah. So
most
you're like,
likely.
yeah. Um, But the time we went already after the test, it's already knew that we could go directly to the ER for the COVID patients, right? So, oh, we went there. Honestly, there was only when we were admitted, there was four of us. There were only four of us. Um, but when we were there, we were already admitted. We already noticed that the staffing, like the nurses who were taking care of you, Like for a good week, there were the same two people every day. So you know that they have to do their rotations. I think they said for a week, a whole week. It's just them,
And
and
then they
then
isolate after, I think.
yeah. So I noticed like the day that it was a new nurse, a new couple of nurses. So that's what they said that the other ones have to rest and isolate themselves, and then it's a new batch. But every day they're the same guys every day, and
Yeah, I interviewed John Caing, and then he's a nurse, and yeah, kind of they would stay in the same. They have like a COVID floor, no?
yeah. So we
So
were
like
all in
it's a
one
floor.
floor.
Yeah, you're all in one floor, and then they're there the whole time. I guess I
Yeah,
forgot the 7 days, but and then they isolate pag afterwards for another. They have
yeah.
like an isolation floor or whatever. And
It's
yeah,
hard. It's hard.
yeah, and I can't. So, and when I spoke to him, he said actually they're not that full, but very quickly. That's the scary part about this whole thing, Bang Amurag. It seemed like it very quickly became not that full to full really quickly
Yeah. I was.
everywhere.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and it's like wow. It was like when we were first admitted, it wasn't that bad, and then all of a sudden it just got crazy. As I hear, from all the reports, and we've got friends who are healthcare workers, and that's what they say. They say it's getting really hectic, and it's scary because again, this, if you can imagine how many staff are exposed and how long they have to work. It's
And yeah, when you saw them when they were treating you, they were in their full
Oh yeah, it's
gear,
like
yun,
it's
like
really
going to
like
war.
yeah, it's really like in the movies, man. That's what I was saying. Like wow, it's really like it's so funny because I was watching while being isolated in the hospital. I was watching Contagion.
Why?
I'm just like, oh, well, this is what happened. It happened to me. Might as well watch it. How did they? It's really like that. Like wow, full hazmat suit and yeah, everything's covered. Everything is all you see is the eyes. That's it. And, and as much as possible, they'd go in the least amount of times, just to give meds and that's it.
They're not
And
hanging around.
no, no. And I noticed while we were there, I think yeah, they would because they would jump. They'd handle multiple patients, right? So it's not like also that you ring the buzzer and they're right there right away. So they were busy. They were busy, and that's
And
not being full yet. Yeah.
yeah, you're only four at that time.
Yeah.
No?
So
And then would you know like kanang so right now there's really no like treatment or vaccine for the virus. But I
yeah,
guess how are they treating it? Like I guess they must be prescribing some sort of I guess maybe
yeah.
antibiotics shoes for the pneumonia lang, ana? Or
Well, for the pneumonia, they did the usual bombardment with the antibiotics through IV, and for the virus itself, actually, she was given a. On my part, again, I wasn't prescribed anything again, right? So the only thing that they told me to do is just watch out for your fever. So if your fever would go above 38.5, that's the only time you should take paracetamol. That was the advice to me. Um, when I asked why, they said, well, that's the body's natural defense against the virus. It brings your body temperature up, and so he said, let's let it do its natural course of defense, and then if it goes above 30.5, then you can take paracetamol to bring it down. Um, so that's the number one thing they said. So I had a thermometer, a thermal gun with me, so I'd check constantly lang if you feel feverish. Um, my mother-in-law she was prescribed a antiviral medicine. Um, so that's one thing that she was prescribed. So it was antibiotics and an antiviral. That was it. And again, at this point, we weren't really getting our fevers now in the hospital. So I didn't take a paracetamol once when I was there. So yeah, That's what I know. The treatment that they have. So it's really more for the pneumonia, and then they had the antiviral. Because I guess people are still trying to figure out what the course of treatment would be. Um, I can't say the same for other hospitals or different cases for different people, diba? In our
Yeah.
case, that was it because we were hit relatively mild, so that was the course of treatment.
So, uh, for in your case, you had zero treatment at all.
Yeah, it was.
Nothing.
They were more like just let it run its course, stay isolated, don't infect other people, and yeah, that's it. Once I was discharged, actually, when sorry, my mother-in-law was discharged, but he added the additional 14 days. So that was to be sure that the virus would, course, and two, since our immune system was busy fighting the virus, we were also susceptible to any other kind of disease or virus. So he's like, also best you isolate from everybody else also because your immune system is technically still recovering. So that's another thing why they let us isolate again another 14 days. And this time, like we were really separate from each other. Whenever we'd see each other in the hallway, I'd have to wear a mask. It was still that kind of setup.
Did I don't know what were you eating? Like, did they give any sort of nutritional, like, diet or whatever, or
Actually, no. My mother-in-law's diet and the hospital, because I would read, the meals that they provide. It was more for her because she's hypertensive. So it was more for like, low sodium, low fat for her. In my
Mhm.
case, it was nothing. It was more just make sure you keep taking your vitamins. So that was one thing they mentioned. Just keep taking your vitamin C to boost up your immune system and rest. Yeah,
Rest, of course.
just rest. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so like ikaw ba, you had it mild or considerably mild, no? But
Yes.
still it affected you in such a way nga, like
It's more
how
mentally.
yeah, mental, but also like how long till you saw, like, Julia and your kids? Like how, like what was it, 30 days?
30 days. It was
30 days.
30 days that I was away from the first day I got sick to the day that I was finally cleared to go home. That was 30 days. So it really takes a toll, mentally, emotionally, um, and it's the toll. It's the mental toll after also like now, and you're extra paranoid now, honestly,
So
and
even if you got it already, like, diba, I don't know, is this true? Like, if you got it, you can't get it again, or I don't know, or there's
I
no
mean,
consensus yet.
in theory, that's what they're saying. So that's why I got a rapid test after to see if I had developed antibodies. Um, in my case, actually, both rapid tests that I took after, I have yet to show or develop antibodies.
Really?
So, yeah, okay, and this is me getting it mild, right? My mother-in-law, on the other hand, who got it worse than I did, already has antibodies.
Yeah, but you kind of want the antibodies, diba?
Yeah, so the theory there
Okay.
is you need the antibodies to show that at least you have some sense of immunity. But again, the doctors will tell you that's no guarantee.
Yeah,
And like, at the end of the day, the best defense is to think you're gonna get it again. Yeah. So so
yeah. I kind of wish it was like, the ones who had it before, and yet you're like this superhuman class in. So like you have the people who've had it and who haven't had it. Yeah, the ones who've had it, they're the ones who are walking outside without masks.
yeah,
you know,
yeah. If only it could be like that. Like chicken pox. It's the same thing. Like they'd say, oh well, you can't get it again anymore. Your chances of getting it are slim, but it's so new, and I guess um, they can't really say anything concrete yet about it. And I know the treatment for it is still ever changing. Um, yeah, so that's the scary part actually is how long we're gonna have to live with this thing out there.
Well, turns out the I've had this conversation before. It seems like earliest would be a year. So I don't know. Apparently, that's how long it takes. That's how long, like, a year would be the fastest we've ever had a vaccine made,
Yeah,
ever. No?
yeah,
So that's the most, that's early, like the most uh, positive outlook. No? So, so
yeah.
what, so,
I'd say so.
kanang, when you were like, so you were isolated essentially by yourself, or well, essentially by yourself for like 30 days.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah. So
then,
like the time that we were discharged, I was really in just a room the whole time. One small room, my son's playroom. I was there for 14 straight days. I just go out, if to eat, um, and to go to the bathroom. That's it. And kind of plays tricks on you, huh? Like, you're like, oh man, how long am I gonna stay here? And you counting the hours. And honestly, the funny thing was the thing that I realized was like, wow, can you imagine like people in prison, like they can't get out. And I'm like, crime doesn't pay. It does not pay. Like, can you imagine being
that's
in
what I was
prison?
thinking. I was like, when you were talking about, like, yeah, you just go out to get food, and I'm like, what? They don't just like slide the plate
Yeah,
like
in front of the door.
next
It
to
was,
your door. You just
yeah,
open it and you get it
it
out.
was kind of like that because, of course, the kitchen is downstairs, right? So there's a landing at the staircase, and there's a table there specifically for us, and we'd have to put down. We were using disposable plates and spoon and fork, right? So we'd put it down there, and then Julia's brother would text me, "Bring down your plate." So we'd put it down on the table, and then we go back up, and then he'd text me, "Your food is down there," and you pick it up. So it's kind of like that. It was like that, yeah. And yeah, it was really like, and then everything that we didn't finish, the thought was really like, you can bring it down. You can bring it down and put it in the fridge. Voila, that's it. Everything that you bring up cannot be brought back down. So the
No?
whole the whole thinking of that you can pass it on just by touching anything. So we, as much as possible, try to practice that.
How do you think you got it by kay kanang you were like, I don't know, like me, well, prior to this new lockdown,
Yeah.
I would, go out and buy stuff,
Yeah.
convenience store, and
For me, where I work, it's a part of the essential industries. So I had work. We were actually kind of busy, and I would go to the office every day. But when I mean go to the office, I, but from the time the first lockdown happened, we already put in the whole work from home, and if you had to go to the office, you know as least you can. So I'd be in there most of the time just by myself. If not, there would be two or three of us in the office, and like I was in my own place. Like I have a enclosed area, so they're extra careful. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I was only also the only one who would go out and do groceries. So I was the only one who go out and do the groceries for their family. Um, anything that they needed, it would be me. So who knows really where I got it? It
so
could
like
be.
in essence, you really have no idea, no, kanang.
It's hard. It's hard. And people say like some people it takes a week before it comes out. There's also some guys who took 14 days before you're infected, and then before it comes out. So to trace all the way there is hard. It's hard, and the scary
I
thing
think
is like no, yeah,
I think that's the scary thing. The scary thing is that, like, there are some people where nothing happens. You don't know. Like, for all I know, I have it. Like, you don't know, ba, and then you just feel.
yeah,
And then the
yeah,
scary thing is you can have it, but what about the other people around you?
yeah. I mean, like that's the like the responsibility that you need to think about. Like, yeah, you got it mild, or but you can infect other people. Like in my case, most likely it was really me because I was the only one going out, right? And I brought it there, and and just like that, my mother-in-law got infected, and we weren't technically like it's not like we shared a room, diba? It
Mm.
was just the usual, just see each other in the dining table like that, and yeah, it's really also the people who don't have it, and sometimes you can't blame them if you don't feel anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Like it's not like you have to just stay at home, but
No, and
that's the
you can't go through life like scared all the time that you
yeah,
might infect another person.
yeah. Again, life must go on, and
Yeah.
so that's the thing. So hopefully, people, it's really if we can get as much people tested as possible. I think just to see the extent now. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, especially we'll see what happens now by with this whole new
Yeah, again. Uh,
you know, this whole new lockdown, the whole new rules. Like I'm kind of bummed about it, but I understand, I guess.
yeah, I mean, again, it's like, oh well, it's for everybody, so we gotta live with it. It's just weird. It's just kind of frustrating, honestly, to get the guidelines and the news in bits and pieces. You know,
Yeah, I was having a conversation about that with my cousin. And yeah, it's annoying. They have these meetings. So this is what it feels like. It feels like the government is having these meetings and discussing. So there's nothing is finalized. Ba? They're having the meetings and discussing, and there's media in the same room having the meetings, and then they're just there waiting for whatever little piece of kanang information they can get, and then as soon as they say, oh, canceled na ang quarantine passes, pak pak pak, then they post it online right away, and then there's no, you know
yeah,
there's no
you're
answers
right.
to any of the other questions. That's what it feels like.
It's exactly like that. And in our cases, it's like, okay, so what does that mean? Nobody can go out anymore at all, right? You're like, okay, so nobody can get out and do groceries. Is that what they're saying? You know, and
So
then
you have these people panicking because they're making their own assumptions on the based on the news already.
exactly, and in another scenario, like in my work, the workers are some of them, live in the provinces. So the initial reaction was, I'm getting out of Cebu. Like, okay, it's like, how do we decide like what the guidelines are? How do we decide to move forward? But because of that, because of the initial reaction, initial announcement, like, okay, it's gonna be a hard lockdown. All your ECQ passes are gonna be suspended. So everyone's like, oh, I gotta get out. I gotta get out of Cebu City. That was the so things like that, bro. And you can't.
It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. So now you're constantly just waiting, right? Every day you're like, okay, what's the new announcement? And like there was another live conference again earlier today, and then I tried to listen in on it. Their audio was terrible, so you couldn't make out what they were actually talking about. So you're just like, forget it. Like, yeah, and you could see everyone's comments are like, fix your audio, fix your audio. It's
Oh, really?
frustrating, and that's a mayor. Huh? So I'm like, great, wait na lang again.
Yeah, it feels like they make the announcements without sorting through the natural questions that come after the announcement.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, it's annoying. It's really annoying. But
Mm,
I'm curious. So when you got the virus, were you ever like legitimately worried about
yes.
your personal safety?
Yes. Of course, you hear all these things. I have a cousin of mine. Who's a doctor in Manila, and he's the first guy actually. I asked like, "Hey, what do you think?" And they're worried. Of course, the number one thing they say is monitor your breathing. And in my case, I'm asthmatic, so everyone's like worried. Like he was concerned, like you just have to monitor your breathing all the time. As soon as you feel the slightest thing, go to the hospital. So you're scared. You're kind of scared, and you don't because you don't understand. Like you don't. Nobody knows really like what could happen to you and how fast. So you're legitimately like kind of worried like the first few days, like the first 3 days, 4 days, and then he says you better it's critical up to your 10th day. Like up to your 10th day, you better just be careful and monitor yourself. So you're counting down the days. Like I'm counting down the days. Like okay, it's day 4, it's day 5. I still feel okay. I feel kind of better. So that's the thing that gives you an alarm, like the hope. Okay, it seems like my fever is less. I don't feel as bad anymore.
So you
Yeah,
don't
but
think you did like you don't feel like someone like you were just lucky. You don't feel like you did anything
yeah,
specifically, or like kanang you're
no,
just young.
no,
That's the only thing.
nope. Because I have all like this, the like my profile is, I'm overweight. I have asthma. I haven't been exercising. So you're like, wow, like I don't have like the best, on paper. I'm not like the best guy, the most fit guy, right? So you're worried. You're generally worried. Like, wow, how is this gonna get to me? But also, it's more of actually thinking of like my family. Actually, that's how it was. It was more like I wonder how they're doing. I wonder how if they're monitoring their temperature, if they're monitoring their breathing. Is anybody gonna exhibit symptoms? Because me, again, like you, like Shigoro, not as enough for myself. And again, after the first few days, like the fourth, fifth day, you're kind of feeling better. But oh, you're like, maybe it's okay. Maybe I got it mild. And then again, like you're counting down. So like by the 10th day, we were like, well, it must be okay now, right?
Yeah,
So,
but there wasn't a point there, Amrug. You had like kanang, you worried for your personal well-being. Like there
oh
must have
yeah,
been, right? Like
yeah, yeah. The first,
when was it?
the
When
first,
was it the hardest? The first few days.
no, when you, and they said you're positive, you know, getting yourself checked and then waiting for the results, and then when they drop the bomb on you, like, yeah, you tested positive. It's like, wow, like you're like, what to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? And then you just like me, constant. It was constant. And I'm like every hour I would just take my temperature and I
But
would do breathing. And just
when they tested you positive, you're already feeling better.
yeah, actually, diba? I was
It's like so
okay.
mentally in your head, you were like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god!"
like wow. And so I'm positive and it's confirmed. And so you're like, is it gonna get worse? Is this just the initial, symptoms I'm feeling? Um, then again, yeah, but that's the time like you really worry that day you're positive is like, what's gonna happen next? How is it gonna
Because
affect me?
I suppose because I kept going back to like the first few days in my head, but I kept thinking about the first few days when you had it. But I suppose you didn't. There was still like some.
You're in
You could
denial,
still say
man.
it's yeah. There you can still deny it, but
Yeah, you're in denial. I'm like,
uh,
well, it doesn't seem so bad, and like it feels like it because to me it felt like the regular flu, like a man flu. So you're like, maybe it's just a flu, but then it gets really serious now when you get your test and then you're like, sir, you tested positive, and then you're just like, wow, like, and you don't know what's gonna happen.
what day was it when you got the results of the test? So like
Um,
days later. So like first
My
day you
fifth day. Yeah, it
isolated
was my
yourself.
fifth day.
Fifth day. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
it was already my fifth day when I got the confirmation. Yeah.
How long did the test results take?
Well, that time it was just overnight.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's longer.
I think I heard it might be longer for some. Um, I did my follow up PCR test. It took me 5 days before I could get my results.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the thing. What more with the government? I heard it takes much longer than that to get your results.
Mm, yeah, man. Unya
That's the
the
hard part.
lagi unya the I don't know. You know, maybe we'll just plug our wives na lang now ba kay like si Steph yesterday running na kay siya. And yeah, she's
Yeah.
like Carl, she sat down with me. Carl, you know what? We're gonna get like some health plan, whatever, just in case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
okay. Yeah, okay. They both work in AXA, so people, if you're
Of course,
listening,
that was it was a discussion. Yeah. I actually signed up for another plan. I was held at gunpoint by my wife. So I have a new plan.
yeah, yeah. I got one. We got one yesterday.
Same
For
here. See,
me.
maybe they colluded by.
Uh,
But yeah,
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 no, but it makes. I mean, I totally. I thought my wife's laughing. Kanang kanang I totally agree. Kay there is a future lagi nga we all get it, and then there
oh yeah,
are significant expenses good for sure.
oh yeah. It is, guys. So I won't say anything like any figures, but it's significant. Um, uh, Shout out to Phil Health though. They did their part and pitched in, so at least we know that that side those guys are doing their jobs and they're really helping out. Um, but yeah, you'd never know. And the way my dad puts it is like, well, the way it's going, this isn't the first or this isn't the last time this is gonna happen.
Mm.
So yeah,
So
I
bye.
guess
So what we should do is get you out of that problematic demographic. You know,
yes,
bye. Get
yes,
you. Julia, if you're listening, we'll go biking with Gino, diba?
yeah. But see, we'll have the masks on, diba?
Of
And
course, yeah.
we're distanced from each other.
Yeah, 2 meters, 2 meters. Also, if
So
you're outdoors, it's also Musani.
yeah, shout
It's
out to check out my
oh yeah,
hat. Yeah, man.
oh yeah,
I
nice
forgot to
hat.
plug the hat. Yeah.
Thanks, nice hat. I
Uh,
like.
yeah, but honestly, another thing, in my case, a good side effect of the COVID is I lost 15 pounds.
Oh really?
Yeah, you lost your appetite. It's like you really just can't smell or taste anything. So I wasn't eating anything, and so diba, I was telling Julia I lost 15 pounds. Let's keep the ball rolling, you know. Start
Yeah,
biking.
bike. Yeah, I think you should get a bike. You get a bicycle. You once it's back to GCQ, you go out and exercise. Um, and stay away from people. You
Yeah,
know, that's
I said it can be done. It's like look at Carlos' videos. He hardly see anybody on the road.
oh Ria here. Let's highlight Ria. Oh, get
Get the Thank you, Ria. Nice.
diba? Or you can
That's
probably
right.
borrow one also. Really.
Yeah. But so that's something I did the 14 days to keep myself sane. I was really just reading, watching videos, like your video, is that how to choose your first bike.
Uh, Thanks for the
I
plug.
saw quite a yeah, man. It's a good channel. So I
Well, I have a lot of
wa-
free time now, so I got to do something.
yeah, I have a lot of free time. I had a lot of free time watching videos. So you get all these through these YouTube black holes. Thank God for that, for YouTube and Netflix. Um, yeah, so I can't imagine how it is if you didn't have that technology now. Uh, People can read, I guess.
Yeah, no, but I mean, also like, you were isolated from your family for 30 days. Like, I'm sure you were like,
Very hard. Like
was
I was
complaining.
telling, yeah, thank God for FaceTime. Thank God for Viber. You can just see them all anytime you want. I was actually telling Julia that too. Like, can you imagine if we had none of that back in the day? You just have text messages. How hard
Text
that would be.
messages, no, landline. You were
Yeah,
alive.
landline.
Land.
Yeah, yes, yes, and landline. Yeah, but in my case, the landline is downstairs, so I couldn't use it. So you can imagine if I didn't. Wow, how crazy! But yeah,
It's so nearby. It's so near, and you're like, I can't use it. Like other
you
people
can't.
in
I
the
can't go
house.
down. Yeah, I did buy. Also, like you'd be like, who would know if I would go out and just take a drive? Right? I won't be infecting anybody. Like I was, that's a thought that went through my head. Like,
Really?
yeah, like who would know at night if I just drive around for a bit and come back and not be in contact with anyone? But again, you got to be disciplined and just do your again, like do your time. I was like, wow, it's like prison. You got to do your time.
Yeah, I can imagine that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah, and being away from your family is the worst part about it.
What was it like when you first saw Julia and your kid, by?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I like for me, it really hit me hard. So it's hard. Like so, as soon as I got to the door, and I came from the outside, so I have to first take a shower, change my clothes, and you can see Andres trying to run at me, and you have to tell him, you have to explain, like not yet. I have to take a shower, before I could hug him. That's really hard. And then it hit me hard when I saw him, and then in a month's time, there's such a like a there's a really like a growth spurt like in my head. It's like he's just like a baby, and now it's like wow, it's actually like a little boy, and that hit me hard. Um, and then being together again, it's, never take that for granted. That's really hard.
Yeah, by.
And yeah, and the whole question, like you don't really know, like so you say yeah, you're isolated 14 days, but you gotta get tested again, right? So you don't really know yet when you can be able to get back, see them again. And the yeah, again, the emotional toll it takes on everybody moving forward. Like now, honestly you're extra paranoid now. Like wow, I wore a mask all the time. I had alcohol with me all the time. I still got it. Um, Moving forward, like now we have this whole protocol now in the house. Um, Everything as much as possible is we order our groceries online. Um, Less food delivered here, so we really cook anything that arrives here. So I Julia bought like this pump sprayer, okay, and then I bought a disinfectant tablet. So before those things get into the house or the unit, I spray that down. I spray that down. Um, the other things that can't be sprayed, we bought a UV lamp, like a big one for the room. So we put that in the bathroom. It acts like a big whole place where you can UV bomb everything.
Oh,
You
Jane?
there, Carl? Oh, I
Yeah, are you
don't
still there? So you have a UV
Sorry, yeah, yeah.
light
Yeah,
thing?
so we got a UV lamp. Yeah, we got a big one for the room. So in the bathroom, we just turned it on for 15 minutes. Um, what else? We have the handheld ones, and as much as possible now, there's no handing of cash or whatever. So everything's done through online transfers. That whole thing, and I've got a face shield with me all the time now. Whenever I go out, because I've actually
No.
been able to, yeah, I've been able to go to the office, but as soon as I'm down from the car, I have that on. I actually bought overalls, Carl. You can imagine. So if and when um, I have to go to a supermarket, diba, or buy medicine can't be avoided. I'm gonna wear that thing. I'm gonna look like those overalls for a mechanic. I actually have one now.
Yeah,
So
see, see Steph. I don't know if I think she posted it on social media. Like she bought this whole like outfit on, yeah, like fashion. It looks fashion.
Ah, I saw that. Yeah, yeah. So
I saw.
mine by actually like it was like okay, I'll have it made. I had it made, and I was like,
Oh,
I don't want one with like the hood, right? So it's like, can I just get one like with a collar? And I just want to look like a mechanic. So that's the kind of one I got. I have
yeah.
yet to use it. Yeah,
See, Steph's used it. Yeah, like I remember one time she walked in here and she like it really kind of nakalitan ko ba. She really looked like something out of a movie. No,
yeah.
she had like these big like shade looking things pa.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like that's the way to go now. Because again, you'd think you'd never get it. You'd think you'd never get it until it happens to you.
There's a pro mona ba, I don't know, there's an argument that it's possible that we just kind of all live with this for a while, and that there's a possibility that we all just get it, and probably the best thing to do is to work on the immune our immune, what's it called, our immune system,
The herd
that whole
immunity.
thing.
The herd
Yeah.
immunity. Yeah.
No, well, not herd immunity, but like just on ourselves, ba, like
It
get
could be.
ourselves healthy.
It could be
um
actually. Maybe it's something that was always there and it suddenly just mutated. That's why the treatment is. We're still discovering it. Yeah, it could be something that we have to live with. Well, we
yeah,
are
well,
now.
no, yeah, we are, but like we are gonna live with this, it seems like, for a year.
Yeah,
No, a long time. And uh you know I I don't know if we can, hide for that long ba.
yeah.
No.
I mean, sometimes like the way I would tell Julia, because it weighed heavy on her quite a bit, because it was her mom and it was me,
Of
right?
course,
So
yeah.
I can't imagine it's going on in her head, but yeah, I just have to remind her, life goes on, and I hope let's try not to let this thing dictate, most of what we do, right? That can't let us control the way we look at life or get out, right? So I was like, let's not let it like defeat us. That's the way I put it. Don't let it defeat us. You know, do what we can, do what we have to do every day. Take the extra precautions. Um, yeah, but let's not be too. I mean, so negative, but now you just hunker down in your place and never go out. Yeah, I mean, like now, like my son, I actually let him walk around our compound now in the condo during the mornings. At least get some air, get some sunlight.
Yeah.
More so also to expend some energy because this guy has so much energy. There has to be a way for him to spend that energy. So we let him run around every morning. It's sad though, At first he was hesitant. He didn't want to wear the mask. Now he does.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
imagine that your kid is gonna grow up thinking that's normal? It could be that way. We don't know. Again, like as you said, that's a year. And honestly, if there's no vaccine, are you gonna go out without a mask? Right? So
No.
that's really like something that's you know sad. But like I took a picture of him walking around. He's got a small mask on, and now he's used to it. So it's sad, but it's kind of sad also in that regard.
Yeah, well, hopefully, with any luck, it'll be one of those things. Our kids, once they grow up, they'll be like, "Hey, remember that?" Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like they probably won't remember it. They're so young, but like they'll be like, "Oh, remember our parents talked about that coronavirus time? It was
yeah,
crazy, daw. Kaya na
it
ba?
was crazy. I hope.
Like
I hope.
like how
Hope it's
like how
something
our
like that.
parents talk about like people power or martial law."
Yeah, and not knowing. You're like, yeah, it happened. Yeah, I heard it was bad. But in our generation, you're like, yeah, yeah, I read about it.
Yeah, it changed the world, sort of, I guess.
Yeah,
Jade,
I hope.
I think this is a
Good.
good place for us to end, man. I know you have a meeting in a bit. Uh, Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Bay, for sharing your experience, spending some time with us. I
yeah.
think a lot of people got something out of it.
I hope I was able to, at least help out in any way I could. Again, different. It's different for everybody, but what do I say? Shout out to all the healthcare workers out there. I've got so much family who are there, are frontliners. And you guys are our heroes now. And the way they describe it, it's a battlefield out there. They're at war. They're at war for everybody. So you gotta respect them. It's not easy. It's not easy. And so again, um, I just hope I was able to, say a few things that maybe would help people. And yeah, thanks for having me, Carl.
Yeah, Bay. Hey, do you want to share where you're at? I always ask my guests, like, where can they find you online? I don't know, Instagram account, whatever. It's really up to you.
Well, I'm not quite active, but yeah, you can just. I guess my Facebook tag is there. I guess they tagged me. I don't know. You can see me on Facebook, Instagram, not so active.
Okay. Yeah, wala lang. I'm just,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I I ask. Gian, I hope to see you in real life soon.
yeah.
Possibly wearing a mask, maybe on a bicycle, hopefully.
Yes, I will
No?
be. You'll be definitely one of the first to know because I will be asking you to guide me, to guide me
Yeah,
through the trails. Yeah. So
anytime, anytime.
yeah. Hey man, hope to see you guys soon. And love to the kids and Steph and the family.
Oh yeah, but yeah. Thank you. You too. Say hi to the fam. Are they there? They must be right there.
They're somewhere. I actually banished them to the room.
Tama ba?
Yeah, but no, yeah. You guys stay safe, Garth.
All right, man. Okay, I'll turn it off. Thanks, man. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye guys. Bye
Bye.
bye.